Okay, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the K-12 Education Subcommittee of Ways and Means on the 7th day of April. We have two bills to take up today. The first one is Senate Bill 292, which is a cross-file to a bill that we passed earlier. This bill comes back to us with an amendment from the Senate. Our amendment would remove the Senate amendment. The Senate amendment was made on the floor and not in committee. And it had to do with classifying certain groups of things as not pornographic. The bill allows for when the open meetings things happens if something pornographic occurs, and also, by the way, if something impugns a student's privacy, that or impinges on a student's privacy, that it would that they could remove that. It goes to describing a particular thing as not being pornographic. To me, the list would be exhaustive of things that would be not pornographic. And so citing these two is probably unnecessary. And so I'm asking for an amendment on the Senate bill that would bring it back to the Senate in the form that we sent our House bill over. Is that accurate?
Yes, everything accurate except the bill number is Senate Bill 99, not
I'm sorry, I'm
Senate
reading
Bill
the wrong one.
292.
You're right. It's the wrong line of the folder. Senate Bill 99 is what we're on. I'll say that again. It's Senate Bill 99. 292 is the next bill we're going to consider. Anyone want to ask about the amendment or want to make a motion? Well, Vogel, you were so alert before.
I'm going to move the amendments.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. By the way, while we have her on camera, it's important to note that April Miller received quite an award today, and you should just ask her about it. I know she's very proud. It might signal my demise. That's all we can say right about that at this time. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hands. We got full group. I assume Hornberger's in.
Yeah,
Delegate Hornberger, do you want to say no or anything?
he's behind April.
He's
Oh, there he is. I see. I'm looking at his name over
1.
here, but there he is lurking behind you. Does that make you a little nervous? Should. All right. So we have unanimous on that.
Now she won this award, I got to keep an eye on her.
You do, and is that why she's bigger in the front? Is it just that her head is bigger? Is that all that's going on there?
Move the bill.
Thank you. The bill's been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hands. And I see the hand in the background. And Delegate Pasteur, I'm going to assume you're in and off the camera there a little bit. You have to shout if you want to be a no on that.
Yes.
Okay. So that bill we will send for a vote. I believe it'll be ready for a vote today. Is that correct, Alistair? Okay. Second bill is Senate Bill 292. This has to do with transporting students in vehicles that are smaller than buses. We've had this allowed for a year or two here. This is one of Hornberger's great initiatives several years ago. It had a sunset. Our bill lifted the sunset. Our bill also said that it would be the bill originally had a bunch of regulations written in. We felt that was premature. We sent the bill over with a charge to the State Department of Education to establish regs in managing the bill, in managing this kind of transportation, not really establish them, but to begin looking at possibility of regs. They sent it back with all the stuff. We struck all that. So our amendment strikes all that and goes back to the way I described it originally. Alistair, anything you want to add?
So the bills that came in just repealed the sunset for the ability of the State Department of Education in consultation with the Motor Vehicle Administration to set regulations for the transportation of certain student groups in vehicles other than school buses. The House bill added to that simple sunset repeal a requirement that the State Department of Education review the current regulations with an eye towards whether they were arbitrarily distinguishing between types of drivers, whether they were best suited for student safety, and whether they were in concert with the current regulations of network transportation operators, which are
we took that stuff out of our original bill, right? When we passed it.
So the original bill was just a sunset repeal. We added that review of the regulations to the bill. The Senate added that review of regulations also, but they also added a
bunch of regulations.
Authorization for the county boards of education to operate outside of current regulations if they met certain standards.
Right.
That authority to operate outside of the regulations was contingent on the State Department of Education not adopting new regulations. So in other words, they'd be able to operate with under no regulations if they met a few criteria that are listed in the bill until the time at which the State Department of Education adopted new regulations, and then that would not be the case anymore. They would have to follow the new regulations. Under the version of the bill as the House passed it, MSD has to report back to the General Assembly, and everyone will get a bite at the apple next year.
Thank you. Joe Vogel, Delegate Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to be very clear here, the Senate bill provided broad authority for counties, for LEAs to contract with these transportation network operators, TNCs. The bill, as we have amended it, that we have before us now with these amendments, strike that out and keep it in the posture that the House initially passed it, and does not provide that broad authority to LEAs to contract with TNCs.
That's correct.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Move the amendments.
Okay, we have a motion on the amendments, but we also have Delegate Roberson, but I'll take a second on the amendments before we go to him, then he can comment on them. Do I have a second on the amendments?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, Delegate Roberson, on the amendments or the bill, since you raised your hand nice and early there.
Yeah, I was in agreement with my laptops. Okay, so I was making sure that I think Delegate Vogel answered my question, just that we're going back where those allowances for outside organizations, companies to operate without regulations, that'll be removed.
Yes,
Right.
I'm gonna let Alistair.
I see council's
It's
shaking
been
his
a
head.
hard one for me to keep up with back and forth what we put in and remove. So I'm gonna let Alistair answer that question so it gets answered absolutely correctly.
Yes, that's right. That would be removed.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
is there any questions on the amendment? I have a motion and a second on it. Anybody else? Okay, raise your hand if you're in favor of the amendment, please. And we are unanimous on that. Okay, that we've attached the amendment on the bill as amended.
Move favorable as amended.
I have a motion favorable. ...
Second.
Thank you. I have a second on the bill as amended. Is there any further discussion on the bill as amended? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the bill as amended, please raise your hands. That's my hand somewhere. There it is. Okay, and I think that's unanimous. So 7-0. And so we will take both of those bills to committee for a vote. We are complete today. There's a couple things that are stacking up behind us a little bit. Stand by. We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday at about this time. Just keep your eyes on it. We may or may not have something ready, but I thought it was good to reserve our spot since we've got a few behind the dam right now. Okay, talk to you all soon. Thank you very much for your time.
Mary,
Congratulations again, Delegate Miller.